The news spread slowly, almost like a whisper, before it finally exploded and left the entire BTS world speechless. There were no official announcements, no excessive glare from the cameras, nor big words spoken in front of the public. But that's precisely why this moment feels so powerful. Taehyung does something to Jungkook without realizing it, and the watching world knows this is no ordinary gesture. As the camera zooms onto the stage, the atmosphere looks like a typical BTS moment. Music blared, army cheers echoed, lights shimmered. Jungkook stood there, his face still professional, his smile thin, his movements controlled like an idol who had been accustomed to bear the expectations of millions of eyes. But for those who are observant, there is something different. Jungkook's gaze was blank for a moment, his shoulders slightly down, as if an invisible weight was pressing down from within. He didn't make any mistakes, didn't look physically tired, but there was a subtle distance between himself and the crowd around him. That's when Taehyung moved on. Not dramatic, not made up. Taehyung only took a half step closer, a reflex that he may not even be aware of. His hands were raised, not to wave themselves at the camera, but rather to touch Jungkook's back, lightly but surely. A laconic touch, barely noticeable, but full of meaning. It's like saying, "I'm here," as if to confirm that in the midst of the world spotlight, Jungkook is not alone. What makes the moment so jarring is not the magnitude of the gesture, but its sincerity. Taehyung didn't turn to the camera, didn't look for the audience's reaction. His gaze was full on Jungkook, with an expression that could only be understood by those who had shared his long journey, from an uncertain trainee path to the pinnacle of global fame. It is a language that is not learned, but rather built from years of togetherness. Jungkook himself didn't seem to react immediately. It was as if his body had only noticed Taehyung's presence a few seconds later. But the change is obvious. His shoulder was slowly healed. His breathing is more regular. Her smile, which had been just professional, turned warmer. He turned his head briefly, their eyes met, and in that split second, the attentive army knew. There was a wordless conversation going on. Social media also exploded. The short footage was replayed, slowed down, analyzed from different angles. Many have just realized that the moment is not accidental. Taehyung doesn't just stand by Jungkook. He chooses to be emotionally present. He read Jungkook's body language, responding without being asked, with no obvious gestures. A form of empathy that is rarely seen in the measured and calculating world of entertainment. Some fans call it the instinct of a true friend. Others called it a testament to Taehyung's emotional maturity. There were also those who fell silent, realizing how much weight Jungkook might be carrying, until one simple touch could change everything. Whatever the interpretation, one thing is indisputable. The moment is real, honest, and touching. In the world of BTS, togetherness is often displayed in laughter, jokes, and the burning energy of the stage. But it is precisely these moments of silence that reveal the deepest layers of their relationship. Taehyung didn't have to say anything. It is not necessary to attract attention. He just needs to be there, right when Jungkook needs him, even before Jungkook himself realizes the need. For many ARMY, this is the reason why BTS feels different. They are not just co-workers who share the stage, but human beings who take care of each other. When one looks shaky, the other attends without being asked. And when the world is too noisy, they find ways to communicate in silence. All was clear afterwards. Not because the camera is getting closer, but because the feeling cannot be hidden. Taehyung may not be aware that his actions will become global talk, but it is precisely that unawareness that makes him so pure. He's not creating a viral moment. He just becomes Taehyung, a sensitive friend, who knows when to step forward and when to stay by the side of the person he cares about. At the end of the day, the moment does not require any official clarification or lengthy statements. With just one touch, one look, the BTS world is reminded once again that behind the glitter of the stage and the great records, there are fragile but strong human relationships. And that night, unknowingly, Taehyung shows everyone how to love and protect, without having to say it out loud. The moment continued to live on even after the stage lights dimmed. His short recordings became the subject of inexhaustible conversations, not because of sensations, but because of the honesty that emanated without engineering. Many returned to watch with different eyes, realizing the small details that were previously missed. Taehyung's manner tilted his body slightly towards Jungkook, as if forming an invisible shield. The way he refrains from being too conspicuous, but still ensures that his presence is felt. All of that adds up to one conclusion that's slowly gaining traction in the public mind. Taehyung knows exactly what he's doing, though he may not be aware of the repercussions. Behind the scenes, there is speculation. Some suspected Jungkook was at a certain emotional point. Others said the pressure of work and public expectations never really gave pause. But the most interesting thing is not those guesses, but Taehyung's natural response. It does not wait for a sign, does not wait for permission. He reads the situation, then acts, a reflex born of time-tested sensitivity and closeness. Some pop culture observers rate this moment as a portrait of friendship that is rarely exposed in the entertainment industry. In a world that often demands the perfect image, emotions are often hidden behind rehearsed smiles and choreographed gestures. But in that second, the boundaries collapsed. The only thing left is two humans who understand each other without the need to explain. Taehyung didn't take over the stage, didn't shift focus. He keeps his balance, making sure Jungkook stays upright without feeling alone. Jungkook himself, after that moment had passed, seemed to have found his rhythm again. His movements are lighter, his gaze is more steady. It does not announce anything, does not signal openly about what has just happened. But the small changes are enough to be read by those who are sensitive. A proof that the most effective support often comes without a voice, without a counterclaim. Army, which has been known as a community with keen intuition, picked up the message quickly. The comments section is filled with heartwarming phrases, personal reflections, and even stories about how one touch or the silent presence of the closest person once saved their days. Taehyung and Jungkook's moment becomes a mirror, reflecting back simple values that are often forgotten amid the hustle and bustle of popularity. Being present, caring, and sensitive. Over time, the conversation evolved into a broader understanding of BTS's dynamics, that their strength lies not only in talent or hard work, but in the bond that allows them to support each other when the spotlight feels too heavy. Taehyung, in his unconsciousness, has reminded the world that empathy doesn't always need a big stage. Sometimes it comes in a split second, in a small step taken without a plan. And perhaps therein lies its beauty. Because if Taehyung was well aware that his actions would be symbolic, he would probably hesitate. It will probably hold back. But because he acted as a friend, not as a public figure, the moment was born with complete honesty. Jungkook received it not as a spotlight, but as sincere support. In the end, everything seems clear. Not because the camera panned more sharply, but because the heart of the witness also opened. Taehyung does that without realizing it, but the impact feels wide and deep. A reminder that behind the glitter of the entertainment world, there is still room for simple humanity, which actually makes everything feel more meaningful.